Hello everyone and welcome back guys to round 9 of the F1 2021 Alpine mod career mode. Yesterday we're here back ready for the Belgian Grand Prix and we have now officially reached the halfway stage of the year. We've got a few brilliant tracks lined up over the next 3 races. I'll be honest, yeah, really looking forward to this. We got Belgium, we got Zandvoort, and we got Monza coming up over the next 3 races. So yeah, very hyped as we get in towards the second half of the season here. Yeah, already halfway through this championship. Still, Verstappen leads the way at the top of your standings there, 155 to Lewis Hamilton's 143, with Valtteri Bottas waiting in the wings. And then, of course, you move back into the midfield pack there. Charles Leclerc on 78, myself on 66, just ahead of Carlos Sainz. If we could finish 4th overall, I would be really happy by the end of the year then. But let's dive in ready for the Belgian Grand Prix. Right, so here we go then, ready for the Belgian Grand Prix, round 9 of the season. And yeah, my favourite track on the Formula 1 calendar. Always love coming back to Belgium, ready for this Grand Prix. But we'll wait and see as to how things go here today. Of course, like always, we'll whack the setup on and we'll head back out onto the track. Right, let's do this thing then here from the Belgian Grand Prix, round 9 of the year. And like I said, this is the track that I absolutely love coming back to on F1 2020. Always just such a fun circuit to really try and push a Formula 1 car around. Going to be interesting to see who comes out on top between Mercedes and Red Bull this weekend, as Hamilton and Leclerc actually trading places as we head down through a Rouge for the first time in this qualifying session there, all nice and tidy. Up over the crest, and you can see so far so good. Top end speed actually really good still in the car. Of course, we want to run quite a low aero package around this circuit, but heading down in towards Sector 2. Of course, this is where we might be struggle a little bit more against a lot of the other cars there. We really can't afford Charles Leclerc to be that quick this weekend. Of course, we saw him take pole at the Monaco Grand Prix in the real-life Formula 1 season last weekend, and I think that didn't quite come out of nowhere, but certainly wasn't a prediction before Thursday. So maybe, just maybe, Ferrari have found the same sort of pace in this Alpine mod career mode as well. There, Bottas now as we head through Pouhon up into provisional fastest at this stage of the lap, but we're sitting inside the top 10 nice and comfy, but we really need a good final sector here, try and get it hooked up nice and tidy there. A little bit of wheel spin in a couple of places, struggling actually with a bit of understeer as well. Oh, that is not good as we head down in towards Sector 3 there. That was a horrible run through Stavelot there, up towards Blanchimont to finish off the lap. Of course, we've got to navigate the bus stop chicane as well. They're a long way off the front, but of course the cars around the longest track in Formula 1 tend to get a little bit more spread out. Oh, clip the inside curb through Blanchimont. That was awfully scary. Somehow keep it pointing in the right direction there. Slam on the anchors at the 100-metre board there as we head through the final couple of corners of the lap. Really try and get good power out of the final corner, and is P8 at the end of qualifying there. Not quite the session we wanted, but it could have gone a whole lot worse. Well, it would appear then that Charles Leclerc has got some mad pace around at the Belgian Grand Prix this weekend. Clearly a track that suits Ferrari there as he gets ahead of championship leader Max Verstappen there. Bottas on the pole ahead of Lewis Hamilton there. And yeah, like we said, Charles Leclerc 3rd, Verstappen 4th, Sainz as well up in P5 there. We qualified 8th, not the worst position in the world that we could have done, but definitely felt there was a bit more pace in the car there, just 1 row ahead of our teammate Fernando Alonso for the start of this Grand Prix there. Lance Stroll down in 11th, Sebastian Vettel having another good day out up in P7 here. But yeah, let's dive in then, ready for the Belgian Grand Prix. Oh, Spa-Francorchamps, what secrets will you hold for us today here for round 9 of the F1 2021 Alpine mod career mode? I always love coming back to this track, so much history, and still, without a shadow of a doubt, the best track on the Formula 1 calendar. A 7-kilometre roller coaster, 19 corners, 10 to the left, 9 to the right. This place is really just heaven on earth in my eyes as a Formula 1 fan. So many iconic corners, obviously Eau Rouge and Pouhon, Blanchimont as well there, and obviously the iconic Kemmel Straight as well, where we've seen cars go 4 wide in the past as recently as 2018 as well. This place is just F1 perfection in my eyes. There is genuinely, I don't think, any way you could make Spa a better circuit realistically than it already is in the world of Formula 1. And it's a shame that most current and, sort of new circuits coming to the calendar will never quite sort of capture the same sort of magic that places like Spa have been able to in the past. And I'll be honest, I really hope this place never leaves the Formula 1 calendar. I can't see it happening anytime soon if it was, but yeah, really just imagine a Formula 1 season without Spa. It just wouldn't be right. in my eyes, and I'm sure a lot of you guys would agree. This place has a certain magic that no other track really does able to hold there. But having a look then at your grid ready for today, of course it is Valtteri Bottas on pole ahead of his teammate Lewis Hamilton there, Charles Leclerc and Max Verstappen on the second row ahead of Sainz and Perez there. Vettel and Ocon 7th and 8th, and of course we've got Lando Norris and Alonso rounding out your top 10. Stroll and Tsunoda in at P11 and 12. Daniel Ricciardo ahead of Pierre Gasly there with Raikkonen, Schumacher, Nikita Mazepin, George Russell, Nicholas Latifi and Antonio Giovinazzi rounding out your order there. Quite a few big names a little bit further down the order than I'm sure they would have liked to be. But let's head down to the trackside then, ready for this race. Right, well here we are then guys, ready on the grid for round 9 of the year from the Belgian Grand Prix. Again, kind of seems crazy that Belgium is inside the first half of the World Championship, but hopefully today we're going to have a good day here. I mean, we've had some big points finishes so far this year. Austria, of course, being the biggest one of those, and bear in mind, Austria is the only other track, as well as the Belgian Grand Prix, that I've actually been to in real life for a Formula 1 race, so maybe, just maybe, perhaps we're reading something into it that we probably shouldn't. Maybe, just maybe, today, though, will be our day in the Alpine mod career mode here. I just want to dive right into it then. Here for round 9 of the year, we've got Perez and Vettel just in front of us, Norris and Alonso just behind. It's 5 red lights, and it's lights out, and away we go. Not getting off to actually a decent little start there, as we're going to try and find some room down in towards turn 1, just about finding some space around the outside there, and being super aggressive off the start of the Grand Prix there, straight up into P6 of this race there. Vettel makes big gains as well as Sainz and Perez go backwards at the start of the Grand Prix as we head through Eau Rouge for the first time in this race there. Really good start for ourselves as Carlos Sainz tries to come back at us there. We'll just use a splash of our ERS as Verstappen having to go defensive from Sebastian Vettel here. Red Bull's past and Red Bull's future side by side at the end of the Kemmel Straight there, but it is Red Bull's future who holds out in front there as the perfect start for the Mercedes drivers still out at the front of your field there. Carlos Sainz coming back at us as we head down the hill. They're just struggling a little bit with some understeer at the start of the Grand Prix. We do find a room though around the outside. Sainz not taking too many big risks at the start of the Grand Prix as we head down through No Name there. Yeah, good little start up 2 places in this race, but now we need to see if we can try and close up to Vettel, and we're going to hope, really for our sake, that Max Verstappen has got better race pace over Charles Leclerc. Maybe they can trip over each other a bit and help us get a bit closer to the podium. Getting a big old run on Sebastian Vettel as we head up in towards Sector 3 of lap 1 here. Are we going to be close enough to go for a bit of a send on the Aston Martin man there? Really not the best top end speed in the world. Big old squeeze though. Nonetheless, again, we'll go deep on the brakes. We'll get the inside for the second part of the bus stop chicane there, and we will now be up into P5 by the end of lap 1 of this Grand Prix there. Bottas still leads the way. Maybe Mercedes gonna have to do a Hamilton is faster than you kind of thing in this race, or Valtteri is James even, I should say, for Mercedes. But yeah, really good opening lap. Can we close up on Max Verstappen? On to lap 3, we're just at the DRS. Oh, are we at the DRS? No, I think we might just have got it on Max Verstappen in this Grand Prix, as he's not applying the pressure to Charles Leclerc like I thought he would in this racer. And yeah, we do just about get the DRS of Max Verstappen, so I reckon we could be applying pressure to Max before he can to Charles Leclerc. Really not a track that suits the Red Bull car, as Carlos Sainz get past Vettel behind us. But yeah, we need to just keep pushing, try not to make any mistakes, of course. Weirdly easy to do so with this Alpine. It just slips and slides around a little bit with how low the aero is, but now you can see Verstappen through the twisty bits. Really closes back in on Charles Leclerc again. I reckon Verstappen's now been given some more engine modes in this Grand Prix. He's now a bit closer to the back of Charles Leclerc, though, as we set a 46.1 UPB for the Grand Prix. Try and get the nose tucked into T1. That wasn't too shabby. But yeah, we've just got to be a bit careful trying to manage the ERS as well still early on in this race. Of course, we still want them to be able to attack towards the end if we need to here. But yeah, really, us top 5 all sort of sticking quite close together here. If you look on the mini-map, the Mercedes aren't far up the road at this stage of the day, as now you can see the top-end speed coming in. Do make some big old gains on Max Verstappen. They're not close enough to go for anything. As, oh, I think Hamilton was looking on Valtteri Bottas there. They're side by side. We get a little bit out of shape over the top of LeClerc. But I think, has Hamilton pulled off the move, or is Bottas still in front? They're helping us all close in. Hamilton ran the outside, and he's got the inside for the next corner there, in through No Name, and he has pulled it off. Lewis Hamilton into the lead of the Grand Prix there, ahead of his teammate Valtteri Bottas, and that might be a critical move for the World Championship battle here. As everyone, you can see Charles Leclerc now all over the back of the pair of them. Verstappen closing in as well. We need to try and get to the back of this train and see if we can do anything. End of lap 4. This is turning into a really big battle at the front of your field there. When was the last time you guys remember a 5-car battle for the lead of a Formula 1 Grand Prix here? The team want us in at the end of this lap, but we'll wait and see as to what the other cars around us do as we get all over the back of Verstappen through La Source here. Can we get a good run down the hill? Obviously that Red Bull's still not particularly strong down the straight, so we don't really want to go for anything down into a Rouge and Radillon, but maybe if we can try and get a good run up the top of the hill, we can try and go for something there. Try and use a bit more of the deploy as you reach the crest. Round the outside of Max Verstappen in this Grand Prix, and we've just pulled that move on the World Championship leader here. I'm in a 4th place in this race, and that was a critical move that we needed to make at this stage of the day there if we want to try and get up to Charles Leclerc. He's the main focus. He's who we want to beat in this Grand Prix there, but now ahead of Max Verstappen. Eyesight firmly set on the Scarlet Ferrari. Oh, Charles Leclerc getting right up to the back of Valtteri Bottas, but who is going to pit in this Grand Prix? Bottas comes in. We are going to do the same then in this race as most of the other front runners decide to stay out. Make sure we get it slowed down just in time as we head into the pit lane here, but Valtteri Bottas into the pits, we're going to follow him in. Shouldn't hopefully get held up by the Mercedes man, obviously with him being just in front of us, shouldn't get held up by anyone if things run smoothly. 2.7, and we've stayed out ahead of Bottas, so we have got the jump on the Mercedes here in this Grand Prix. He must have been held up by slower traffic into the pit lane here, as long as we come out in some clear air. So we head out through La Source, over the big bump on the inside, getting all kinds of fishtailing. Yeah, look at that, we've actually got Mazepin between us as we head back out of the pit lane there, so a heartbreak for Valtteri Bottas, as he might get shuffled down to 5th place in this race there from P2, but we need an absolute flyer of an outlap to see if we can try and get past Charles Leclerc and maybe even get close to Hamilton. Oh, we got yellow flags out as well. So we head down the hill, hopefully no VSC or anything like that. I think it's one of the Alpha Towers, I think it's Tsunoda dropping to the wayside in this Grand Prix there. So a heartbreak for Yuki Tsunoda on his first trip to Belgium in a Formula 1 car there as he pulls off on the inside. And that is, yeah, Yuki Tsunoda and Alpha Tauri, his 2nd DNF of the year after the massive shunt he had back at Baku there. But we are trying to close in on Kimi Räikkönen. Haven't caught him up at too bad a point on the circuit, but look at the aero wash. So we head down through the Fagnes chicane. Can we try and get a good run out of Blanchimont? Sorry, up in towards Blanchimont from Stavelot here. Kimi Räikkönen, obviously dubbed the King of Spa back in his day. Not so much in this Grand Prix. Is Arby going to be able to get a run to the inside in towards Blanchimont? He's going to give us a big old squeeze, but the very, very experienced Finn does give us the room. We've got our teammate into the pit lane as well. Oh, big lock-up in towards the final chicane there, but we do hold on. Räikkönen staying out another lap here in this Grand Prix, so not too sure what that's all about, but I'll be potentially going to get the jump on the front guys as well there. Hamilton just peeling out of the pit lane. Obviously, we're going to get a lot of overspeed down in towards turn 1 there, and look at that, there's Charles Leclerc. We are going to get ahead of the Ferrari man in this Grand Prix, only just though. Going to have to use a load of our overtake to try and defend from him there, as Hamilton still in the net lead of the Grand Prix there. Pierre Gasly, actually, he's going to lead a lap for Alpha Tauri here, but is Charles Leclerc going to be able to get a run on us as we head up the Kemmel straightaway here? We're going to force him to the outside. We're going to have to do a lot of defensive work towards the end of the Grand Prix if we can hold on late on the brakes. A bit more confidence on the warmed-up rubber, and we are now up at a net P2 of the Belgian Grand Prix. This is exactly what we need. Gasly dives into the pit lane here, but I don't think we've got the 1 second gap over Charles Leclerc just yet in this Grand Prix. It does tick over that 1 second mark, albeit only briefly. You can see gains back on us down in towards turn 1. We need him out of the zone as we head down through La Source. Big old run out of the first corner. We're going to have to use a load of our overtakes to try and get him out of the gap, but I don't think it's going to be enough. No, only 9/10 of a second as we head in through a Rouge and Radillon here. And now Charles Leclerc, surely he's going to be able to come back at us as we head up the Kemmel straight there. Let's watch that gap absolutely plummet as we just don't have enough ERS to defend with at this stage of the day. They're down to 6/10 there, down to half a second as we slam on the anchors again. Oh, big old wobble as we just get the front wheel over the inside curb. That's not what we needed either. We're going to need so much defensive work in the final 3 laps of this Grand Prix as Charles Leclerc. Even they're looking for a move up through Blanchimont, or in towards the bus stop even, I should say. Can we try and just get the run out of the final corner here? If he gets a run in towards turn 1, I might just let him have it, so we can try and get a run down the hill there. And look at that, Charles Leclerc does go for it. Is he going to be able to get the momentum down the hill here? It's going to be a drag race, but we are just not going to bother fighting it. We may as well get the DRS up the Kemmel straight once more here. We'll flick the car up into rich revs once more, and I'm surprised Charles Leclerc wasn't wiser to that in this Grand Prix. Unless, of course, he's got a lot of overtakes to defend himself with. Clearly not enough as we go peeled back around the outside of Charles Leclerc here. Back up into P2 of the Grand Prix. Hamilton just romping away at the front of your field here, but this battle is still heating up lap after lap. 2 laps to go here from Belgium, and you can see Charles Leclerc, the gap now half a second as we head through the DRS zone this time round. Is he going to be able to get a run as we take a lot of curb up through the top of Radion here? Charles Leclerc is going to be gaining on us a lot quicker this time round. What are we going to be able to do against the Ferrari man? We go defensive on him, but he hasn't got that much of overspeed on us. Oh, a bit of wheel-to-wheel contact, so gave him a bigger squeeze than I realised. Do hold firm up the inside though, and we do make sure we stay in P2 of the Grand Prix, albeit for now. We got a little bit of ERS. We're trying to desperately save as much as we can for the final lap of this Grand Prix, but corners like that are not going to help us. Just over 1 lap to go then here from Spa, and now this is where it really heats up between myself and Charles Leclerc there. Charles, you can see, using a bit more overtake as he tries to get a big old run down in towards the final corners of this lap there. We just go a little bit defensive on him, just a foot over, to make him second guess whether the move was on there, and it certainly was not this time around. Hamilton, new fast lap of the Grand Prix, a 45.7. That's what he needs for the bonus points at the end of the day here. But could Verstappen come into this on the final lap of this Grand Prix as well? There, he's waiting in the wings at the moment. That Red Bull has not been a quick car round here, but I don't think it's fair to say he's got the most out of it either. He definitely shouldn't have been ahead of the Ferrari and the Alpine in this Grand Prix here. But as we head up through a Rouge for the final time, they're almost taking grass on the inside. As we try to get a run here, we're going to have to use as much of our overtake as we possibly can there. And Charles Leclerc, he doesn't have any left. He's not closing in on us as quick as he needs to be here. As we get towards the end of the Kemmel straight there, Charles Leclerc just doesn't have enough battery in the back of that Ferrari. So surely now, this means as long as we do nothing stupid in the final half a lap here from Belgium, surely we've done enough to try and hold on ahead of the Ferrari and the Red Bull here. You can see we've got Carlos Sainz in 5th place. So Bottas has dropped all the way to 6th in this Grand Prix. It has been a day that has turned so sour for Paul Valtteri Bottas here. It's just when you start to think he might be getting a look at the World Championship if things came to head between Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton here. Hamilton comes through for what is likely going to be a race victory here. Verstappen comes through for a disappointing 4th, and Bottas still loses out points to the pair of them down through Stabilo for the final time in this Grand Prix there. Really, the back end starting to kick out now. The tyres certainly at the end of their usable life. Is Charles Leclerc going to be able to go for anything as we head up in towards Blanchimont for the final time in this Grand Prix? He's not even closing in on us despite having the slipstream. Charles Leclerc is just not making gains in towards the final couple of corners of this Belgian Grand Prix. He can't look for a send in towards the final chicane. Hamilton comes through to win the Belgian Grand Prix with another fastest lap, but we come through the final corner 8th to 2nd. Get in there.
Yes, that's a podium. Excellent drive. The team have worked especially hard this weekend, and this is a fantastic reward.
A difficult race then on one of the all-time classic circuits, but they persevered to take the win here today. Talk to me, Ant. What was it that set them apart from the competition today?
Well, I know it's a bit of a boring answer, but the truth is they simply had the best speed package on the day, and a driver who knows how to take advantage of that. It doesn't matter how much time you spend poring over the stats and planning strategies if you can't keep the pace, and our winner today showed they could do both.
And I can see the drivers starting to approach the podium for the victory celebrations. A real team victory today. Everybody played their part. Congratulations then to Mercedes, your race winners today. Now, let's discuss, Ant. Who would you say is a contender for driver of the day?
Difficult call, but I'd like to say Esteban Ocon. He's just so gifted at getting the most out of his tyres, and he showed that today.
Well, Ant, an end to another fantastic weekend of racing. Thanks to everyone who joined us, and we'll see you for the next one.
Well, there we are then, guys, the end of the Belgian Grand Prix, and it's Hamilton who takes a big step forward in his championship defence there. Does close up massively on Max Verstappen at the end of the day there. We come through for P2, though. The Alpine's race pace much better than its qualifying trim. You can see there both of myself and Alonso making big moves up through the field there. Charles Leclerc and Max Verstappen there, as well as Carlos Sainz, all finished where they started in 3rd, 4th and 5th, with Bottas first on the grid to 6th. At the end of the day there, how disappointing must that be for the Finn there. Just ahead of my teammate Alonso, Perez, Stroll and Vettel round out your points there. Aston Martin once again getting both cars in there ahead of Lando Norris, who just misses out, as well as Pierre Gasly in 12th place there. Ricciardo, and then of course all of your backmarkers. It really has been a disappointing year from McLaren so far, with Tsunoda the only man not to make it to the checkered flag. Championship-wise, it means that Lewis Hamilton reclaims the lead of the title by just 2 points over Max Verstappen there. Bottas 33 back, still waiting in the wings, hoping for an opportunity that just doesn't seem to be coming at this stage of the year there. Charles Leclerc just 9 points now ahead of myself after we make some small inroads on the Monegasque driver. But it's certainly, yeah, just trying to pull away a bit from Carlos Sainz as well at this stage of the campaign there. Further 10 ahead of Sergio Perez, who's 8 ahead of Sebastian Vettel. A further 7 ahead of Fernando Alonso, who is dropping back in this battle of the midfield there. Stroll gets the jump on Ricciardo with at that point as well, and you can see right towards the rear of your field there, Lando Norris just ahead of still the Alfa Romeos, the Alfa Tauri's, the Haas, and your Williams there. Constructors-wise, again, pretty much everyone's settled at this stage of the year there. It really just seemed like, yeah, the top 6 teams are pretty much all locked in. The only real movers will be whether like AlphaTauri, Alfa Romeo, Haas or Williams can get some mega results somewhere in the second half of the campaign as well there. But thank you all once again for watching this video. If you have enjoyed, do make sure you leave a like, get yourself subscribed as well for more F1 2021 mod career mode content coming to the channel in the near future. We will be back very soon, ready for round 10 of the year. We head to Zandvoort for what will hopefully be the first official Dutch Grand Prix. You guys do not want to miss it. We'll be back very soon. A big thank you to our channel members for making these videos possible. You can be featured in these end clips, as well as granted access to some other exclusive perks for just £1 a month by clicking the join button below.